Hello, beloved. Welcome to our channel, where we grow closer to Jesus every day. If you love learning how to strengthen your faith and deepen your prayer life, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a blessing.
All right, let's dive into one of the shortest, but wow, one of the most intense books you'll find in the Old Testament, the Book of Nahum. I mean, this thing is a powerhouse. It's this gripping story of divine judgment aimed squarely at an ancient superpower, and it forces us to ask some really big questions about justice and power.
I mean, think about it. How does a superpower actually fall? It's a question that pops up all through history, right? And, our minds usually jump to things like a huge military defeat or maybe a total economic collapse. But what if the fall is something else entirely? What if it's more like a verdict, a sentence being handed down for crimes that were committed? That's the exact idea we're going to dig into, looking through the lens of this ancient prophecy against one of the most feared empires the world has ever seen.
So, who are we talking about here? The Assyrian Empire and their magnificent capital city, Nineveh. At their absolute peak back in the 7th century BC, these guys were the undisputed champs of their world. But their reputation wasn't just built on their incredible military might. It was also built on a legacy of just unbelievable cruelty. Okay, so to really get the judgment, we first have to get to know the defendant, right? The Book of Nahum kind of reads like this epic cosmic court case. And first up, we're going to look at the rap sheet for this oppressive Assyrian regime. So let's get a quick profile of this empire. Their capital, Nineveh, wasn't just a city. It was the beating heart of a system that was built on pure terror. I mean, these guys weren't just conquerors. They were infamous, absolutely infamous, for their brutal tactics. Just think about what they did when they destroyed the northern kingdom of Israel. That single act pretty much cemented their reputation for ruling through absolute, paralyzing fear. But here's the thing. This wasn't Nineveh's first run-in with a prophet from God. You might remember this. Over 100 years earlier, the prophet Jonah shows up, preaches to them, and incredibly, the whole city repents. They got a second chance. But fast forward to Nahum's day, and that repentance, it's like it never happened. It's a distant memory. They're right back to their violent, wicked ways. And that's exactly why Nahum's prophecy isn't just another warning. No, this is the final verdict. Okay, so if Assyria is the defendant in this cosmic trial, then who's the judge? Well, to really understand this sentence, we have to understand the one who's delivering it. And what's fascinating is that chapter 1 of Nahum, it's not really about Nineveh at all. It's this incredibly profound, poetic description of God's character. Nahum kicks things off by calling God a jealous and avenging God. And let's be honest, that can sound a little jarring to us. But jealous here doesn't mean what we think of like petty human envy. No way. In this context, it's describing a fierce, passionate, and protective commitment, a commitment to his people, and a commitment to justice itself. It basically means he refuses to just stand by while injustice runs rampant. And this is where we see this fascinating tension, this sort of duality in God's character. On one side, Nahum says he is slow to anger, and we saw proof of that with Jonah, right? He is patient. But on the other side, his power is absolute. I mean, Nahum paints this incredible picture of mountains literally quaking and hills melting in his presence. So the takeaway is clear. His patience should never be mistaken for weakness or a willingness to just let the guilty get away with it forever.
And here's the other side of that same coin. While God is this fearsome, righteous judge to the Assyrians, he is, at the very same time, a safe place, a refuge for the oppressed. Now just imagine you're one of the people of Judah, living in constant, daily fear of this brutal empire. This message would have been such a profound comfort. It's this assurance that the same God who is bringing judgment on your enemies is also your personal protector.
All right, now we get to the very heart of the prophecy. We've seen the character of the judge, we've seen the crimes of the accused, and now, in chapters 2 and 3, Nahum delivers the sentence. And it is staggering, the total, utter destruction of the city of Nineveh, a city everyone thought was invincible. To paint a picture of Assyria, Nahum uses this really powerful metaphor. He says Nineveh is like a den of lions. He pictures them as this pride of vicious predators, constantly out on the hunt, killing, feeding on other nations, and dragging their wealth and their people back to their den. But then comes the dramatic twist, the total reversal. Nahum declares that the hunters are about to become the hunted.
He says that once feared lion's den, it's going to be overrun. Its warriors are going to flee in absolute terror, and the den itself will be emptied out and left in ruins. Just like that, the ultimate predator will be brought to nothing. And Nahum is crystal clear about this. He describes a siege, walls being broken down, the city being plundered, but he emphasizes, make no mistake, this is not just one army beating another. This is divine judgment. He says God himself is orchestrating Nineveh's downfall, and he's just using human armies as his tools. At the end of the day, the city's destruction is a direct consequence of its own evil actions. So you have to ask, why such a harsh sentence? Well, chapter 3 basically lays out all the evidence. It reads just like a prosecutor's closing argument, listing one by one the crimes that justify Nineveh's total and complete annihilation. And the charges are absolutely damning. The rap sheet is long. This wasn't just about, political ambition. We're talking about a deep systemic evil here. The city's streets, he says, were metaphorically soaked in blood. Its incredible wealth was built on the backs of enslaved and exploited people, and its entire culture, from top to bottom, was rooted in deceit and moral corruption. Nahum uses another really powerful comparison here. He compares Nineveh to a prostitute. Think about it. Using these tempting promises of power and wealth to lure other nations into sketchy alliances, only to leave them totally broken and destroyed in the end, it's such a striking image of their deceitful and destructive foreign policy. Okay, so what does this ancient story about a fallen empire actually mean for us today? Because really, the Book of Nahum isn't just some old history lesson. It's a timeless reflection on justice, on power, and on accountability. I think we can boil the whole message down to 3 huge, enduring truths. First, God is just. He sees evil, and he holds nations accountable. He's patient, sure, Nineveh learned that from Jonah, but his patience doesn't cancel out his justice. Second, God is sovereign. That means no empire, no government, no corporation is too big or too powerful to be subject to his authority. And third, and this is a big one, persistent, unrepentant evil, it always has consequences. And all of this leaves us with a final, really important question to chew on. The names change, the empires rise and fall, but these dynamics of power, oppression, and justice, they're still with us. The story of Nineveh really challenges us to look at our own world right now and ask ourselves, where do we see these same patterns playing out today? And what does it really mean to trust in a God who is at the same time a refuge for the hurting and a just judge for absolutely everyone?
Thank you for watching. If you or someone you know needs prayer, send us an email. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for daily blessings.